Hi, Homeworthy, it's JR in St. Louis. Welcome to my home. Let me show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
I'm JR Whiter. I'm a project manager at Purina and also a content creator. Welcome to my home. So we found this home when we weren't even looking to move. My husband John and I were in a house in a neighborhood called Pasadena Hills, and we were actually out to lunch with my mom, and John saw the open house, and so the three of us stopped by. The owner opened the door, and my mom actually knew who she was just from my grade school growing up. And so she and the owner got to talking, and then John and I walked around the house. We just fell in love with the house, and it's perfect for us. It's a 1920s farmhouse. The records say 1920, but I think it might be a little older because some of the neighbors have said that it was one of the only houses in the area when this neighborhood was a lot of farmland. So that's kind of how we found it, and it's just been perfect for us and a fun project to work on. So the style of our house is more traditional. So some things are found from antique malls, but then also some things are new that we find at a regular furniture store. I am not a professionally trained interior designer. I do like a classic style home, but you don't have to have a big budget or a formal training just to have a beautiful home. I like to go to a lot of the estate sales and antique stores around town. I like to live my life. If you find something that you love for your house, you should buy it because you can always find a spot for it. Welcome to the entry to our home. And this is a really cool room because we completely redid it when we first moved in. When we first moved in, it was wallpaper that we had taken down, and then our wallpaper guy actually just painted. And the cool thing about this, the black trim is just ribbon that he put up with wallpaper glue. And it's cool because it kind of looks like a little box, which is fun. And then I also collect some walking sticks. So I have a umbrella holder, and every time I see a cool walking stick when I'm out at the antique stores or in an estate sale, I will pick one up. And so it just adds a little kind of flair to the space. And then I also found this table at an estate sale that I had a wood refinisher refinish. And then this gold mirror, this was actually one of my first finds in a store in town, and I kind of fell in love with it, and it's perfect for the space. So the color on the wall is orange. We actually found a inspiration pic on, I believe it was Martha Stewart's blog, and John and I kind of fell in love with it. And when people come in, they kind of think it looks like an Hermes box, which I agree. And orange is a hard color to pick. But for some reason, the black and orange, they just go really, really well together. And it's really cool. It's, like I said earlier, it looks like a little kind of gift box. A lot of the prints around the house will reference St. Louis. So this is just an etching of the riverfront on the Mississippi, since St. Louis is on the Mississippi and there was a lot of steamboats that came by. So you'll see throughout the house, there are some steamboats and also different pictures of St. Louis. And then the rug, we actually just found this at an estate sale. I believe it's just a Persian rug, and it kind of works really well in this space. It's a smaller entryway, but I like it a lot. People always kind of laugh at me that I keep my sunglasses in a silver tray on the table, but it's just easy access for when I'm running out the door. I can grab my keys and a pair of sunglasses for the day. And now we're going to show you the living room. Do entertain in here a lot. It is a nice sized room, so a lot of people can fit in here, and if we have people over for dinner or a party, a lot of people just end up here since it is a centrally located room, and it is a larger room with about 5 built-in bookcases. So when we first moved in, those are one of the first things that we noticed is all of the woodwork, so we tried to keep it as original as possible, but then also 5 bookcases is a lot to fill. So they sat empty for a while just because we didn't want to fill it with stuff that we really didn't like. So over time, we went to antique stores or estate sales, and anything that was cool or a set of leather-bound books, we picked it up, and slowly we started to build the bookcases. And a lot of the stuff comes from some of our travels. John and I have been on a number of really amazing trips. So we will usually get something that's kind of unique or cool from our travels and put it in the bookcase. My favorite bookcase in the living room is this one right here. And my favorite thing on the bookcase are these little lead soldiers that I found at an estate sale. So they're pretty heavy and they're hand painted. And then I also have another set on the other side. Also, we found this print at an estate sale that we had framed, and it kind of goes with lead soldiers. So another cool thing that I have in the bookcase, my dad went to Europe when he was 16. He went on a solo trip to Europe with a group of his friends from high school, and that is one of the things that he picked up. It's just a wood carved bust of it looks like a cowboy or a farmer. So it's something just to remember my dad by. So not all the stuff that we have are from antique stores or estate sales. So this was a Christmas present from my mom. I believe she got it from Wayfair. And it's just a mirrored table that works really well. And I have a couple of blue and white urns on it. But we usually get a Charlie Brown tree for Christmas and put it on this table. And one year it was too heavy and it actually cracked the top of the mirrored table. So I have yet to have it fixed. And then these stools I found online that I had recovered just in a velvet. And they're great because when people are in here, there is a lot of seating, but sometimes we need more. So we could always just pull a stool. And then this is cool. This was actually one of the first pieces that I bought when I started to collect. It is a dressing table. So the top actually opens up and then there is a mirror that actually pulls out from the top or from the back. So it's kind of cool to think about who was sitting here throughout history just to get ready for their day. At my old house, I believe we used it as a bar. So, but it works. It needs to be refinished. There are some nicks in it, but I think it kind of adds to the character of the piece. We found these at an estate sale. Estate sales are great because you can find a lot of really unique pieces and for not a lot of money, which is awesome because framing can be very expensive. So if I fall in love with the print and I like the frame, I will usually get it because you can get it for about, I don't know, 40 or 50 bucks. And then if you just frame it, it could be a couple $100 just to frame a print. So the couch is new. We found it at a store in town and it was great because you got to pick the shell of the couch and then just pick the fabric and then the piping. And people always comment, oh man, it's kind of bold to have a white couch. Throughout the years, some people have spilled on our seating during the parties, but we found a great company that will seal your fabric. So if you do spill something on it, it will just kind of run right off and not stain, which is awesome. And then these chairs, we did have these recovered. So they were in a green leather, but unfortunately the leather was ripped over a lot of it. So we just found this cool chinoiserie print or fabric that we had recovered. And then the coffee table, I believe we found it on Facebook Marketplace, and then we just painted it gold. So it kind of works. We were looking for a 2-tiered glass coffee table, and it's great because you can display some decorative books, or I also found these silver birds, which are great. They're hammered silver. I like it because the set were 2 males instead of a male and a female, and it kind of works for me and John since we're 2 males. And then also in this space, I really like this drum table just because I find drum tables really interesting. And then one of my favorite pieces in the living room is this Asian painting. So we found this at a store in town called Cool Stuff Period. And it works with all of the other Asian motif in the room. And it's cool because it is just a painting stretched over a piece of wood. And it just really works over the couch since it's a pretty large painting. So here's another built-in, and this is also one of my favorites just because it is a little more bright and with other cool stuff. And one of the cool things right here are a set of silver cream and sugars that my sister gave me for a housewarming present for this house. And my last name starts with a W, so the engraving of the W kind of stuck. The jockey is from the 21 Club in New York, and then just a set of leather-bound books that I found. And just whenever I find a piece of brass, I will usually pick it up depending on the weight. So yeah, it's just all these different knickknacks. Here's my high school picture when I was 17, and then when John and I got married. We just went to the courthouse, which is perfect. I really like this mirror. It's just a different gold mirror. And this actually was a gift from John's mother, which is nice. So it's kind of just nice to have pieces from different family members. So a lot of the rugs, we find them at an estate sale if we find a cool Persian rug. But there is a store in town called Asadorian Rugs, and they have really awesome rugs. So it's kind of fun to go through their store and have them flip their rugs over, but they can be very costly. So if we find one that is a good deal, we will usually pick it up. What's great about this room, it is large and kind of divided it up into 3 sections. So this is just another seating area. And this secretary was found at an estate sale. So this was actually the very first piece that I bought. I think I was 23 and I got a good deal on it, and it kind of just works. I mean, it does open up with some more storage in it, but it's kind of one of my favorite things since it was the first piece that I bought. And then just more bookcases, so more family pictures, our wedding invitation that was framed. And then we found the 2 doorstops, they are brass. We found them at an estate sale. They were selling them individually, but I asked if they could give us a price so we could keep them together because I didn't want to split them up. So they're just really cool doorstops. This is the dining room, and it's one of my favorite rooms in the house. When we moved in, there was green bee wallpaper and a can lighting, so we completely redid this. So John found this wallpaper. We had new curtains made. Those came from a fabric company in town, actually in Chesterfield. And funny enough, this table came from a friend of ours that was getting a new dining room table, and we were in the need of a dining room table, so we offered to take it from them. And then we just recovered the chairs. And then the piping on the chairs is actually the same fabric from the curtain, so it kind of matches. And then we actually got these at Ballard Design, which is nice, so kind of mixing old and new together. And my favorite thing about this room is when we do have a dinner party, it kind of feels like you're eating outside just because of the wallpaper. And then there is a china cabinet on this wall, which is nice because it's kind of nice to display some of the china that we got from our wedding. This mirror is actually a relatively new addition to the room. So we found this at a store in town, and they said that the 13 different balls around the circle, they represent the 13 colonies. So I really don't know the year of it, but he said it was pretty old. This buffet, I found this at a store, and unfortunately at my old house, I didn't have a trivet on it, and I put something hot on it and it scorched the top, but over the years I've been trying to polish it out. The chandelier is not original. There was a can light right above it, and so we found this at a store in town called John Paul, which is unfortunately not open anymore. And it worked well because it is black and gold, and it also kind of mirrored the black part of the wallpaper. When we do have a dinner party, we will usually start out in the living room and then move into the dining room. I am more of a casual entertainer. Sometimes I'll do a full tablescape, but usually I'll just do placemats in a flower arrangement. But yeah, one of my favorite things about this house is having people over. And after dinner, people will usually sit around the table and just talk and continue the conversation and have a good time. Let me show you the kitchen. So I am one of 5. I grew up in a big family, and my mom is a great cook. So I learned my love of cooking from her, and a lot of the recipes are family recipes. But then growing up in high school and in college, my neighbor had a catering company. So I learned a lot of tricks and recipes from doing catering just for extra money while I was going through school. So I started cooking videos about 2.5 years ago, and John and I were discussing what I could do with my passion for cooking and entertaining. So it was actually John's idea to start the cooking videos, and one weekend I made a antipasta platter and posted it on Instagram, and people seemed to like it. We've committed to doing 1 video a week, which has been nice. So I just do a lot of family recipes or recipes that come from friends or that I hear from word of mouth. And the response has been great. It's been nice because I've been learning more about myself and just kind of seeing what people think. And also it's been great to have people kind of take to me and my content because the person I put out into the world is who I am in real life. I don't have an online persona or anything. All right, so this is the kitchen where I film a lot of my videos, and one thing that kind of drew me to this kitchen was this built-in buffet. So for a dinner party, I will put the food here so people can help themselves, which is nice because I am a casual entertainer. And these cigar labels actually came from my great-grandfather. He had a cigar box manufacturer. So my mom gave me a set of these, and we just had them framed. So later on in the tour, I will show you them in the bar. So it's kind of nice because I like a kitchen to feel more of a room instead of a utilitarian room. So that's what I'm trying to do is kind of blend where people want to hang out in the kitchen, and usually people end up in the kitchen at a party or at a dinner party. This stainless steel table was actually left by the previous owners, which is awesome because there is no island in here. You could put one in, but having this table is nice because you can move it around, and I film all of my videos just on this table. My favorite thing about the kitchen is the sink because it looks over the backyard, so even if you are doing dishes, you get to have a nice view, which is nice. All the cabinets were here, and it's nice that they're white. I mean, if we ever did redo it, I don't know if I would do it the exact same way, but for a kitchen just to move in, it's been great. Another cool thing is at our old house, we had the opportunity to completely gut and redo our kitchen and butler's pantry. So we completely redid it, and then about 6 months later, we found this house. But one cool thing that we took from the old house is our old counters were butcher block, and this was actually the sink cutout. So I just took it with me, and it's an awesome heavy cutting board. This range is awesome because it is a 6-burner range, and this is where I just do a lot of the cooking. And one thing that I do like about this kitchen, I learned this trick from my 4th grade teacher, Sheila Wiley. She had us make a jar in 4th grade and put the clippings of our Christmas tree in. So that for some reason that kind of stuck with me. So when I met John and we spent our first Christmas together, I started that tradition. So these 2 jars represent 15 years of Christmases together. And if you ever want to smell Christmas in a jar, they're great because it just smells like a Christmas tree. Here is another bookcase, which is awesome because there are a lot of bookcases. So this is where I store a lot of the cookbooks and whatnot. You can see I do like old copper. So there is a oil pitcher, a bowl, and then down here there is a big tub that I use for a cooler for parties. But one thing is great for my cooking videos. I pull a lot of the recipes from a cookbook that my mom gave me when I got married. She gives one of these to each of my siblings when we got married. It's a handwritten cookbook with the recipes that we had growing up and kind of the stories behind them. So this is where I pull a lot of the recipes from for my cooking videos. Today we're going to make whipped feta dip. In a mixing bowl, add 12 ounces of crumbled feta. I buy it in a block just because you can crumble it yourself, and so because sometimes if it comes in a container, it'll almost look like sawdust since it's so small. 8 ounces of softened cream cheese, 1 cup of Greek yogurt, 1/4 cup of olive oil, and I usually just eyeball a lot of things. A zest of 1 lemon, and then the juice of 1 lemon, and then chop 2 tablespoons of dill, mix it together with a hand mixer. All right, we're going to slice half a cucumber. Half a cup of cherry tomatoes. So now we're going to assemble it. Spread the cheese on a platter. And then top with sliced cucumbers and cherry tomatoes. Drizzle with a little bit of olive oil. And I serve with pita chips. Let's give it a try. Ooh. That's pretty good. You get a big hit of the feta, and the lemon is perfect, and then just a slight hint of the dill. That's really good. So yeah, this is the den, and it's a cozy room. So one of my favorite things in the den is the poker table. It is a old wood poker table that I got from my mom as a housewarming present. And what's great about it is that all the chairs are different and they are hand carved. But also what's cool about it, you can flip these over and it'll have room for your chips, a cocktail, and then also an ashtray. So for a party, I will usually put the bar on this table because this is a faux leather top, which I don't have to worry about if it gets wet. So then if we do have a bartender, they will stand behind the table and people can just kind of come up and grab a drink from the bartender. This bar was here, but we did retop it and then paint it, and a new faucet, and then just more of the cigar labels that come from my great-grandfather. And it's great to have a bar in the house because for a smaller party, I will set up a full bar here. And usually when people come over, I will hand them their first drink and then tell them after that it's kind of help yourself. It's a casual household and I entertain very casually, but it's nice just to have a bar that is set up for a party. Here is just a seating area. So all of this stuff is new. I believe we got it from West Elm and it kind of works. It's a little more modern than all the other furniture that we have. But it's nice to sit here and watch the TV, and then there is a gas fireplace. But when we are at work, the dogs get to hang out here, and they have a nice window to look out so you can see their dog beds. And coincidentally, it kind of matches the, the fabric of the chair. That was not planned. That was just the ones that they had at the store that I liked. And then this piece we found at an estate sale. Every little thing kind of just comes together. And so this canoe was a present, and what's great about it is a model canoe, and it kind of matches the canoe print or the painting that we found at a Clayton Art Fair. I believe the artist is Curtis Baldwin. And right off the den, there is a powder room, which is nice because the only bathrooms are in the bedrooms. So there is a half bath that we completely redid when we moved in. We just put new wallpaper up and a new sink and toilet. And this mirror came from a family friend that was also moving. But right now we are looking for kind of what artwork to put on the walls. But the wallpaper is kind of cool. Now we're in the library, so it transitions off of the front hall from the orange into a green room, but we also pulled the orange into the chairs that you will see. So the green was originally here from previous owners, and we liked it so much because they said it's been here for a few owners. So we kept the green, and then we just put up grass cloth, which we had at our old house, and I really like grass cloth. It's just something that I am always drawn to. And then this chest is actually one of my favorite finds that I have. So this was at an estate sale actually up the street from our current house. And it's nice because it just works really well for the jockey prints that we found at our antique store. And then this lamp actually just came from Home Goods. So I usually try to mix something old and new in a space. The rug we actually bought from a rug dealer in town. So that is a Persian rug that we kind of fell in love with. And then the bookcases, just more bookcases filled with books. A lot of the books came from the previous owner. They were moving to a smaller space where they couldn't take all their books with them. So I believe the first 3 rows are from the previous owner. And another St. Louis reference is the steamboat. So we found that at a store called the Brass Alligator in town. And it's kind of an homage to all the steamboats that came down the Mississippi. And another cool thing about this, that are in a number of the bookcases, even in the living room. We found these postcards in Venice a few summers ago that they are kind of cool. So then we just had them framed and they are throughout the house. Here is a oil painting that we found. I've always had my eye on kind of oil paintings and pictures that I've seen. And so we found these at Worcester Woods Antiques in town. And John always kind of jokes. He's like, oh no, that's JR's great uncle, which is not. I mean, I guess there are some similarities. But no, it's something cool, and I really like the picture frame. Here are some more steamboat reference. So this is a picture of the Great Race on the Mississippi. So it's just a steamboat race. And then since this room is right off of the front hall, we brought the orange into the chairs, which is great. And the curtains, it is also another kind of Asian motif, which is awesome with orange in it. So we're kind of trying to tie in the colors from the adjoining rooms. And my favorite thing in this room is the table lamp. So this was actually left from the previous owners, which is great because it works for the space. But no, we hang out here a lot and watch TV. We'll usually kind of eat in here if we're not eating in the dining room, and it's just a nice cozy room. This light fixture, it is just a candelabra, and each little piece has a different face on it, which is kind of cool, and it's a really heavy chandelier. We had it at our old house, and we wrote it into the closing agreement that we got to take some of the light fixtures with us because we kind of fell in love with them, which I'm glad that we did because it really works well in this space. Now I'm going to show you the office. Now we're in the office. So this is great because it is right off of the den, and I work from home on Fridays, which is a nice perk to have. So I usually will work here on Fridays. These prints came from my mom. They were a Christmas present, and they are just covers of the Missouri Conservationist, which she has a subscription to. And it's cool just because these are all different photos that were taken around Missouri since I live in Missouri. The runner, this was actually left by the previous owners. We got a lot of good stuff from the previous owners. Just these chairs, I found them at World Market, and they kind of stuck out to me just because I really like cane furniture. My favorite thing in the office are these two pictures. So they are showing our previous house, which a friend of ours drew, and it's cool. It was an old 1920 Tudor house. And then this was actually a housewarming present from our friend Annie, who actually does watercolors of people's houses. So it's cool. It's like you get to have both houses right next to each other. Another thing that I collect are Toby mugs. So a lot of these are picked up over the years, or some of them have been birthday or Christmas presents. And actually, when my grandmother died, I was gifted the ones on the bottom, which are really, really tiny ones, which are kind of fun. And then that eagle came from my dad's desk, so that always just sat on his desk. So that was one of the things that I got from him. Now I'm going to show you the screened-in porch. This is the screened-in porch where we spend a lot of our time in the summer months, and it's great because it has a nice view of the yard. And then my favorite thing in the screened-in porch is the rug. So this rug is actually just from Ruggable, and I believe it is washable. So we got it a couple years ago. And the director's chairs, I actually found those at Home Depot. So it's kind of fun. There is a lot of seating. If there are a number of people out here, it's great to have a garden stool where you could just pull them over and people will sit on them. But they are also great for a table as well. And then the patio set, I believe we got this on Wayfair as well. When we first moved in, we were just trying to figure out what do we put in this space. So it works for now. I don't know if it'll stay, but the screened-in porch gets a lot of use in the summer months. And the fan is great because it's a nice breeze, but the best view is of the yard. So the blinds were already here, which is great because they are just a grass blind, and they actually really work really well when the sun is setting, since the back of the yard faces west. Now I'm going to show you the backyard. Now we're on the patio, which is an awesome spot to entertain when it's not too hot. So it is a brick patio, and a lot of the stuff was already here. The previous owners couldn't take their furniture with them, so they decided to leave it, which is great for us. It's nice, heavy wrought iron furniture, and there are really cool brick planters throughout the patio. And then for other pots, I did buy some cement planters from a store in town called Gringo Jones, and I like red and white impatiens. And right now, they're about half the size that they will get throughout the summer. So by the end of summer, they'll be huge balls of flowers. But a big selling point of the house was the big yard. When we first moved in, there was honeysuckle all around the property. So we removed all that, and then so far we put in about 55 trees, and it's great because hopefully it'll be just one big green wall when they all fill in. I counted the other day. I think we need about 20 more just to fill in the wall. But no, it's a nice size yard, and it's great for the dogs to play around in. My favorite thing in the backyard are the peonies that I actually inherited. So right now they are not blooming, but in May they will be the prettiest hot pink that you will see. And I think there's about 100, 150 blooms on all of the bushes, so it's kind of hard for me to clip them all, but I will give them away to family and friends every year, which is always kind of a fun tradition. or what home means to me is that it is welcoming and people feel at home and cozy when people come over. A lot of the adjectives that people use is that it's warm and inviting, and I think that is the best compliment that I can get about my house. I want people to feel at ease and welcome when I invite them over to my house.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.